So Jeff, what's on the agenda for today?
Well, as a good, strong American leader, the very first thing we've got to do in a global sphere is really recover the old image of what America is. It's deteriorated over the past couple decades into somewhat of a totalitarian style police it our way globally. We have battlefronts in Afghanistan and in Iraq fighting essentially a failed war to begin with because we're fighting an idea. All based on one day when we got attacked in 2001, the war on terror. Essentially, we need. I would do everything I could to pull the troops back, bring them back home, and me being a stoner would like to drop a couple bombs on Singapore because they kill people there for smoking joints.
And so then the world's going to rejoice and love America?
The world's going to do what the world's going to do. If I was the type person that would hinge my my actions and my emotions on other people's emotions, on this world, I'd be screwed. I wouldn't have a chance.
So would you do what's best for the U.S. or what's best for the world as a whole?
Well, what's best for the U.S. is not sending our children out to create enemies of the next generation of other countries. I'd rather have my soldiers back home in my country protecting us from any potential invasions. They should be
Okay, question. Are there people on this planet anywhere plotting to harm American citizens?
There are people in this country plotting to hurt American citizens.
How are you going to protect American citizens?
Basically, keeping a strong military and keeping out of other people's business. We find ourselves in a war, reaping what we sow on 9/11 based on an arbitrary decision based off a book and penciling out Palestine and putting in Israel. I really just see as if you see a couple groups that have been fighting for 2,000 years, I don't want to start fighting with them. What I've noticed since 9/11, the only people experiencing any real terror, other than the imaginative one of who may be coming to get them, are the Mexican immigrants crossing the border to come over here and do a lot of hard work I don't want to do anyway.
So Jeff, you want to close every single U.S. base anywhere in the world and bring every soldier home?
Yes. Let people defend you. People that start their own problems with other nations could solve them between the nations they started the problems with. The first thing I would like to do is if anybody has a problem with the U.S. or any one of its citizens, I'm a big communications fan. I would love to get into dialogue about this. I get very nervous when you go leading with weapons and dropping bombs all over the world because you do have a tendency to get back what you get.
So you want to build bridges, not blow them up?
Well, mend the ones that have been blown up. But this nation has a strong heritage in founding structure to be a separation of church and state. However, anywhere in the history of this nation that I've read, I fail to see that really living up to its fullest. It always seems one group's ideals are favored over another.
Jeff, the economy is always front page. What's your bright idea?
Well, the way I've looked at the American consumer and the way the money flows around the country, what I would love to see is the black markets eliminated, so those monies would be spent into legitimate businesses, stimulating them and taxes. For instance, the idea that somebody's buying an eighth of marijuana from anywhere from $50 to $70 it's just complete lunacy. If we allow stoners to grow their own weed and you want to make some money off that, I suggest investing in hydroponic equipment.
Well, I have a question for you. Just
Sure.
because you legalize a drug and now it's taxed and it's organized and recorded, doesn't mean somebody is selling it and not telling the government about it and thus not paying taxes.
I really don't think there would be much of a sales market for marijuana for much more than a year or two, because the second any sort of paranoia is lifted by the law allowing the supply side of the drug to exist, if I could have grown weed free since I got out of high school, there are thousands and thousands of dollars that would have went to restaurants, would have bought electronic equipment, and would have went to the movies. Instead, it's going to the guy peddling on the street corner, and the only time we're getting any tax revenue from it is when he's buying the Ziploc baggies.
Well, if you legalize marijuana and some other drugs, will there be pressure to legalize prostitution?
Personally, I think prostitution should be legal anyway. You see all these people with these sexually deviant desires. I remember as a young male in this country being told my penis was too dirty to be touched by anybody and led to believe that I wasn't even good enough for sex by listening to all the different things in the air. I would rather see a prostitute be able to help someone out rather than have somebody get raped.
Well, you know, when you legalize these types of ideas and activities, illegal activities sprout up around them. It's not an isolated, little, pristine, happy world.
Well, true. There will be crimes. There will be people that feel alienated from the society and try to work from the outskirts. That's exactly why a lot of these laws that are not congruent with the First Amendment, because they're clearly laws based and written off one person's beliefs prohibiting someone else's beliefs, or the religion on religion clause, that our very First Amendment and the cornerstone of what being an American citizen is all about. These laws just seem like the right way to go because they began 70 years ago, and we've been living in a system of decay and despair ever since and don't know the difference.
Thanks, Jeff, for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure, Doug, anytime.